Good morning, Fighters. It's World Combat Sports. I had to jump on here and talk about the new breaking news that was just passed down by WBC President Mauricio Suleiman. What's good about this news is in the middleweight division that is stalled out right now, you have Triple G and Canelo Alvarez. And as you as that fight fan, that purist fight fan that's waiting for this rematch, this grudge match to happen, lately in the media, it's been all about Triple G demanding 50-50 split. Vice, what Canelo Alvarez was offering originally was 65-35. Now, as the fight fans, we all know what happened the first time, the controversial draw. We all understand that they need to run it back. But we have to weigh in the variables that's going on with Triple G right now. He's 36 years old. He's on the backside of his career. And it seems like him and Abel Sanchez is making all these excuses to make sure he's very selective in choosing opponents as Triple G is on his way out the door. But the only thing about it is fight fans are pushing for him to step up his competition. If you're bantering this particular fighter as one of the pound for pound greatest in boxing in general, not just the middleweight division, in boxing, then he needs to step up, especially if you just kept the May 5th fight date and fought Monterosian, a former 154 pounder, came in there and cleaned him in 2 rounds like he's supposed to. He finished business. But the good news is the WBC president has basically said that if Triple G doesn't fight Canelo, then he is ordered to fight the WBC mandatory. Also, you may have heard dealing with Sergey Deryanchenko for the IBF mandatory. They're in the process of possibly starting some litigations or suing to make sure they're not delayed in this entire mix-up because he's due to fight, Triple G as the IBF mandatory. So who's better? Who's going to put butts in the seat? Because boxing is a business first. I'm not sure the fans will want to see Deryanchenko before Charlo. That would be the match. If we're not going to see Triple G and Canelo run it back in the rematch, then I think the fans will want to see the mandatory, the WBC mandatory step up in Jermall Charlo, and then Triple G try to make that bout happen. Either way, I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon. What I mean by that is I don't see it festering or just evaporating, just like some of these bouts. I think it's going to be on the surface for a while until it actually happened, and it will do great numbers. And I'm pretty sure that Canelo, who was suspended and becomes eligible in September, I will be, I'll be shocked that he didn't come back on the scene in September and fight somebody that's worthy. I can assume that Canelo is not going to sit up here and come off suspension and fight a can. It's not going to happen. I don't see him doing that. He has too much to prove, coming back off that particular suspension, diminishing, tainting his brand for a little bit. And let's get it understood. This is not the first time something like this has happened in boxing. So he'll be okay. Canelo, being caught, first time offender. Hey, it happens. Worse has happened in boxing. It's not worse than a fighter up here, having loaded gloves and coming in there fighting, basically putting somebody's life in jeopardy. And to be caught in the act of doing it and receive a 1-year suspension, come back to fight like nothing happened. So I think Canelo will be all right. I'm just curious to see who his next opponent would be. Now, back to Triple G, 36-year-old fighter who chose to kickstart his career at a later age. And one thing about pugilist comeback sport, it's only so much fast tracking that you can do. And then the fans, once you start, getting steam behind your career and you consider the top tier athlete, a top tier pound for pound in boxing, just not in your division, fans want to hold you accountable. Boxing fans are some of the most disloyal fans. They will hold the fighters accountable. Their anthem, their mantra is like, what have you did for me yesterday, today, and I need to see what your schedule's like for tomorrow. That's boxing fans. They're gonna hold you accountable. They want to see you perform. Yeah, we're not out there in the ring, but as fans, we have that position to sit up here and critique. It's a lot of judgmental observation going on. Your fans is what pay your livelihood. We support in an indirect way. We support the fighters. If you're good, you performing, we show up to the bouts. That's the way it pops off. You putting butts in the seat, we're the ones that's sitting there in attendance and supporting our favorite fighter. And Triple G needs to get that in his thought process, him and Abel Sanchez. They need to really sit down and think about facing an opponent that is a high risk, and they need to accept the challenge and give the fans what we want. You're back down into a corner right now because all I heard Triple G fans saying is more so that his whole expectations and goals in the division is unified. He is not unified. You've been homesteading in the same division since you was a professional. So it's actually time for you, long overdue, to step up and fight a top tier opponent, especially on the back end of your career. You chose to lace up at that age. Now the fast track is over with. It's a lot of hungry lions out there. Sergey, if they're going to push litigation on their side, I'm pretty sure he's not going to jump the line in front of the WBC mandatory Jermall Charlo. I don't see it happening. I think more so the boxing fans would definitely like to see, outside of Triple G and Canelo, they would like to see him versus Jermall Charlo. So I just thought I'd bring this to the boxing fans this morning. Kind of give you some good news. I'm glad to see they up there pushing these bouts to fruition because we need to see it, especially if we have a unified champion out here that's on the backside of his career. We need him to step up and not just scale out, with some easy selective opponents. You're up here telling the public, Abel Sanchez, that we don't need Canelo. Oh, you need him. If you're willing to make that check, if you're willing to cement your legacy, that's a bout that you need. Because you just can't end up with a draw. You cannot put the final stamp and leave the fans in limbo and say, that's all I need. I don't need to prove anything to you all. Yes, you do. That draw was controversial. It was no true winner, regardless of what the fans and what we debate on here. It was no true winner. So you need to step up and make some type of compromise. Canelo is young. He still has a lane of his career that he can drive the way he feels like. He's a cash cow. He stepped up and fought Floyd Mayweather in a losing effort. But guess what? Ever since that defeat, his career has did nothing but skyrocket. And the only defeat he has on this record is versus one of the greatest boxers of all era, and Floyd Money Mayweather. So that's something you need to figure out, my friend. We want to see this rematch. We want to see you run it back. No more talking. All the media barbs is going back and forth, the verbal sparring between camps. Yeah, it was good for a little bit. But boxing fans, we all heard it before. And now we want to see it again. So y'all stay tuned, boxing fans. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And I'm definitely going to keep you informed and keep it turned up each and every time I'm on here. I will get back with you.